What if one simple act of kindness could heal a wound you carried for years? That night, Ethan pulled over thinking it was just an ordinary evening, the kind that slips away quietly between washing dishes and reading bedtime stories to his little girl. But the moment his headlights fell on the broken-down patrol car by the roadside, something deep inside his heart tightened, as if an old memory had suddenly awakened and was standing there waiting for him. He almost drove on. His daughter Sophia was sleeping peacefully in the back seat. His lunch box lay on the floor, and he had so many reasons to stay out of it. Yet when he saw the flashing hazard lights, the empty stretch of highway, and the figure in uniform standing alone under a flickering street lamp, his hands turned the wheel before his mind could stop him. He didn't know yet that this one small choice would reopen a pain he had buried deep inside for so long, or that the person he was about to meet would make him face the one moment he had never forgiven himself for living through. He parked at a safe distance, stepped out into the chilly air, and raised his hands gently, the way life had taught him to approach such situations. The officer turned toward him, relief clear on her face even before the light fully showed her features as she walked closer, her boots crunching softly on the gravel. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The world seemed to shrink to just her face, older now, with stronger lines around her eyes, but completely unmistakable. Time seemed to fold, and suddenly he wasn't the tired single dad with an aching back in a minivan running on hope anymore. He was that younger man again, soaked in rain and fear, standing in a hospital hallway where a woman with this very face had cried out his name in anguish. He hadn't heard anyone say it in years, but there it was again, echoing between the distant siren and his racing heartbeat. Olivia didn't recognize him, not yet. She thanked him warmly, explained about her dead radio and the engine that wouldn't start, and all Ethan could do was nod, terrified that if he spoke, everything from the past would pour out right there on the road. As he worked under the hood with hands that still remembered engines better than feelings, his mind pulled him back to the night he lost everything, yet somehow kept the one precious thing that gave him reason to go on. He remembered the crash, the screeching tires, the shattering glass, the smoke, and the young police officer who arrived first, the one who held his hand tightly while he screamed for his wife, who would never answer again. That officer had promised help was coming, promised he wouldn't be left alone. And then life moved forward the way it always does, without mercy, without stopping. Ethan had become a single father not by choice, but because he survived, raising Sophia, who now slept peacefully in the back seat, completely unaware that her daddy was standing just feet away from someone who had once saved his heart from breaking completely. When the engine finally roared back to life, Olivia let out a soft laugh filled with pure, tired relief, and that gentle sound broke something open inside him. He knew he couldn't drive away without saying something, because some debts of the heart can never be repaid with silence. He cleared his throat and spoke her name softly, Olivia, the same way he had whispered it years ago in a room full of beeping monitors and shattered dreams. She froze completely. All the calm confidence left her body as she searched his face with wide eyes. And when recognition finally came, it washed over her like a warm wave. The road, the lights, the cold night, everything seemed to step back as they looked at each other across years of quiet pain and unspoken gratitude. She whispered his name back, Ethan, her voice filled with wonder and a touch of sorrow. For a long, tender moment, neither of them moved. She had been the rookie officer who held his world together with her gentle courage all those years ago, the one who stayed long after her shift, sitting with him until sunrise, because she couldn't bear to leave him alone in his grief. He had never thanked her properly. He had simply disappeared into sorrow and fatherhood, and she had carried on, building a life behind the badge, carrying her own hidden scars. They spoke quietly there on the roadside, voices low and careful, sharing small pieces of the lives they had lived, lives that had bent under pain, but never fully broken. He told her about Sophia, about learning to braid her hair, pack school lunches, and cry silently in the bathroom when it all felt too heavy. She shared about the difficult nights that followed her home from work, the cases she could never forget, and why she always stopped to help someone in need, even when it scared her. When another patrol car finally arrived, neither wanted the moment to end. It felt like something unfinished had gently found its peaceful closure. Olivia squeezed his hand softly before stepping away, a quiet, heartfelt thank you for the strange and beautiful way people save each other without ever fully knowing how much it meant. Ethan drove home that night with tears in his eyes, not from sadness, but from a deep, healing peace he hadn't realized he was allowed to feel. He tucked Sophia into bed, watched her little chest rise and fall in sleep, and understood that the strength he thought he lacked had been there all along, carried quietly through years of showing up even when it hurt the most. Helping a stranger on the roadside had turned into facing a memory he feared would destroy him. Instead, it gently reminded him that kindness always echoes through time, that moments of grace never truly fade, and that sometimes the people who once saved us return to show us just how far we've come. And as the house grew quiet that night, Ethan finally understood that true heroism isn't about the uniform or the badge or the past. It's about choosing, again and again, to stop, to care, and to keep going even when your heart feels weary.